Welcome once again to Musings by Danon. I've talked a lot about Isekai on this channel. One of the most common tropes in Isekai is the main character becoming powerful. They get some cheat ability that lets them overcome any obstacle, or at least make their life easy in the new world. But what if the main character was already powerful? What if they were already the strongest in their original world, and the new world is pale and paltry by comparison? Which brings me to the subject of today's video. The ultimate middle-aged hunter travels to another world. This time he wants to live a slow and peaceful life, by Tsukishima Seiuchi, and drawn by Isawa Nagi, has been syndicated by Square Enix and can be read on their Manga Up app. The series started as most do, as a web novel. Tsukishima is also the author of I Kept Pressing the 100 Million Year Button and Came Out on Top, and you can watch my video on that series by clicking the link in the top right-hand corner. Before we get into the story, I wanted to take a minute to talk about power scaling in fantasy. We can debate all day long over who would win in a fight, Gandalf or Dumbledore. It's Gandalf, fight me. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter for our discussion. These are characters from two completely different series with vastly different power scaling. Gandalf, though obviously stronger than Dumbledore, was only just barely stronger than a Balrog, and nowhere near Sauron's strength. Meanwhile, Dumbledore was considered to be the most powerful wizard of the age. At the same time, neither of them can compare to Belgarath or the Dragon Reborn. So let me give some examples of different power scaling so we're on the same page. Conan and Game of Thrones are very low, dark fantasy where magic exists, but involves massive rituals and long incantations. Wizards aren't just throwing around magical energy during combat. Most fantasy series are considered to be high fantasy, but in my opinion they fall somewhere in the middle in regards to power scaling. Airships powered by magic, wizards using magic in combat, enchanted items. There are a few, though, that are beyond high fantasy and start to venture into the realm of the absurd. In Stephen Brust's Vlad Taltosh series, the going rates for assassinating someone aren't just based on the difficulty of the mission, but also determined by whether the target can be resurrected or not, or if you want their soul destroyed so they can never be reborn. Even looking beyond magic and high fantasy, you have characters able to accomplish completely inhuman feats, like wielding enormous swords, or using a specific spell that kills someone in the past so that the things they just did never happened. The ultimate middle-aged hunter tells the tale of the hard-working hunter Jin and his misadventures. Our story begins with Jin finishing multiple S-rank quests in a single morning. Each of these quests should take someone weeks to fulfill, but Jin was able to do them all in about 4 hours. We see that he is insanely strong, wielding an enormous sword while wearing heavy armor, and still able to carry around the body parts of the numerous monsters he's hunted. And after months of work, Jin has achieved his goal. Every quest with his name on it has been cleared, and he now has enough money to retire and live a peaceful, quiet life. Because he is the strongest hunter, many people have submitted quests specifically asking him to complete. Jin heads home, realizing his 2 gluttonous roommates are still asleep. He puts his earnings away, grabs some food and a barbecue grill, and sneaks off for a relaxing afternoon snack. Just as Jin is enjoying his quiet afternoon, cherry blossoms above, liquor in hand, and a buttered rice ball being grilled, he accidentally drops the too hot rice ball. The ball rolls down the hill, and Jin chases after it. The rice ball bounces in the air, Jin leaps after it, then a massive pit opens beneath him. He finds himself in a strange location with unfamiliar plants. What's even more strange is the dragon he finds. He's hunted dragons for years now, and he's never seen one that looks like this one. In fact, he's never even heard of a dragon that looks like this. Since he's only got his knife on him instead of his trusty sword, Jin decides to sneak away, only to hear an elf screaming for help. The elf leaps away from Jin, scared of another human, and ends up being captured by her pursuers. Jin, trying to keep everyone quiet, fails at letting the sleeping dragon lie. The soldiers run in fear, and Jin is forced to take down the dragon with nothing but a knife, which he does with ease. He saves the elf, but she faints in fear after seeing Jin covered in blood. Jin cleans himself up, carves up some dragon meat, and decides to continue barbecuing until the elf wakes up. Long story short, the elves are being financially bullied by the nearby humans. Jin isn't used to a world where the races live separately, so all of this is new to him. He gives the meat to the starving elf village, saves a few people with his potions, then uses his return charm to come home, where he is attacked by his roommates, the legendary monsters, Slime Slirin, the ruler of gluttony, and Ryu, the dragon of ruin. But leaving the elves behind to their plight left a bad taste in his mouth. So what's he supposed to do? The fun part about this story is that it's an isekai that starts in a fantasy world. So you have a powerful hunter, reminiscent of high-level player in a game like Monster Hunter, who travels to other worlds, usually with his two over-the-top companions, a powerful dragon capable of destroying anything in her path, and a slime capable of eating anything. Anything except for the blue curry made by an elf, that is. The other worlds they visit are nowhere near the power scale of their homeworld. Legendary monsters that instill fear into entire populations, causing famine and destruction wherever they roam, are killed with a knife. Foretold dooms that change the very landscape itself are put down with simple magic tricks. It is really fun to see someone who is already extremely powerful go to a new world, try to use their brains or generosity to solve problems, then just give up and throw a giant boulder at a castle to get their point across. I adore this series, but the releases have been very slow. Hopefully this series gets an official translation soon, but I figure the author has his hands full with 100 million year button. In the meantime, I'll continue to keep an eye out and update the video description if we ever do get an official release. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, a huge shout out to my editor Cute Stuff. I couldn't make these videos without her. If you'd like to hire her to edit your own videos, there's a link to her Fiverr page below. Please like and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you all again next time.